Welcome to Heroic Podcast / live training inside of Heroic Industries. Don, what's up? What's going on? All right, so we are getting started with, I'm going to record this as a podcast, I think, at least an intro to a podcast. And then also it is live ongoing training inside of our school group, which is totally free. Cool stuff in there. Anyway, it's like the coolest. It's literally the coolest school group in all of the school groups, if you can follow me with that. All right. Anyway, so if you're in that, then you are the coolest. If you're not, then you are an absolute shitbag loser. So there you go. All right. Okay. So big issue that we need to talk about. We need to talk about the science of habit formation. We need to talk about behavioral changes. Okay. So with this, okay, so like I will die on this hill that psychology is more important in fitness, in health, in all of these things, in strength conditioning. Psychology is more important than actually the tactics at hand, right? For the fitness or the nutrition or the workout, like that all matters. Like that's not like, that doesn't matter zero, but it doesn't matter as much as psychology. And the reason behind that is because that like I can put together the greatest program in the history of the world, and if you can't change the behaviors that are stopping you from doing it yourself, then it doesn't matter anyway. None of it matters. It's all just cool information. It's like watching a movie. Like, that was a cool movie. Okay, so what? Like, you just got all this information and then you did nothing with it. Nothing bothers me more than that. And the only way to fix that is to really dig into behaviorally what's going on with you, right? This is how we apply it, right? If you look at the places where people fail in life, in setting goals, in all kinds of stuff, it's three places. It's either a knowledge gap, we don't know the information, so then we have to learn the information to close the gap to be able to do the thing. Okay. We have a belief system, which means we either don't believe that we can achieve the thing that we're talking about, or we don't believe that it's possible. Either I don't deserve it or it's not possible. Psychology, those are beliefs. Okay. That's a belief system problem. Okay. And then the last thing is application of the information, steps 1 and 2. So you get the knowledge, you have the belief system. And then if you can't apply it into your day-to-day routines, then it doesn't matter because it's not going to happen. Okay. So like, one of the best books that I've gotten through is, and honestly, I'm still getting through it because it's very in depth, and it's one of those where I keep stopping and going back and listening and reading, because I got copies on, and like I got a copy, physical copy, and then I have a audible copy too. So I go back and I'll listen to it and reread it. Is James Clear's Atomic Habits. So that's what this is kind of a synopsis of a lot of those concepts. And depending on how deep we get with this, we'll dictate how long we go. Okay. And then I know, Don, I got you on. If you want to turn your camera on and ask a question, feel free. And I think there's a way. Yeah. So just turn your camera on and ask a question if you run into any. Okay. If not, if you just want to hang out, that's cool too. All right. So, all right. So who is James Clear? He's an author, focuses on the science of habit formation, practical strategies, making good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. Now, that is obviously an overstatement. Like you can't make anything impossible, but point being, like Atomic Habits, I really like the way that he describes it, because it's the tiny changes that lead to big results. Okay. And that's totally true of anything that we're doing, especially with fitness, nutrition, strength conditioning, that kind of stuff. It is not the big workout that you did once every month that makes you sore for a month. Like, it's the little things. It's punching the clock every day and doing the little things the right way. Okay. All right. So we look at making it obvious. Okay. So like you have to make it obvious, you have to make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Like those things are important to dig into. Okay. So like making it obvious, that is one of the hardest things to do. But you have to start there. If you don't start there, nothing can really happen. Okay. Carl Jung, and they mentioned this in the book, says that you have to make the unconscious conscious in order to change it, and if you don't, then nothing changes because you're just on autopilot. And this is where these unconscious actions, desires, activities, like things that you're doing that you don't even realize you're doing, will dictate the direction of your life. And if you don't dig into those and like examine what you're doing, then it will always just kind of like you'll just like flow and float. And that's where it's like, like the doom scrolling on the phones. Like so many people, I get stuck in it too, is like just like, but it's just unconscious. It just happens. And we don't even realize that. Next thing you know, you're 6 hours, 7 hours of screen time. It's like, why do I feel so crappy? It's like, well, gee, I wonder. But you just let your unconscious patterns and behaviors dictate your entire day. Okay. So like make it obvious. Okay. Um, make it attractive. You have to make things attractive or it's not going to be doable. Like you're not going to do it if you hate doing it, right? This is where you can't just like you can't just grind through shit you hate every day and expect that like it's going to yield some result. You have to make it fun. You have to make it your life can't suck every day. There are elements about life that suck. Okay, but overall, by and large, like the things you're doing, you have to figure out a way to enjoy them and make it easy, right? So going into number three, so you have to figure out how to enjoy it. You have to figure out how to make it like attractive for you to do. Otherwise, you will not do it, right? You will not do it in the long term, that's for sure. And staying with that for a second, like most people don't have issues losing weight. People have issues losing and maintaining it off, right? Or getting a goal and then maintaining that goal. It usually is like a yo-yo cycle where it goes up and down, right? So even if you can gut through it for a certain period of time, it's not going to be sustainable long term, okay? Unless you make it attractive. And then make it easy. And making it easy doesn't mean making it easy in a sense like lazy. It makes it easy to do, like because you make it on purpose. And if you're making it on purpose, then it's something that, like will just become a habit. It'll be habitual. And if it becomes habitual, then you don't have to think about it, which therefore it's easy. Okay. So it's not easy at first. You develop the easiness by just making it like a thing that you do over and over again. It's a system. All right. And then making it satisfying, right? So like it's got to fall in line with your purpose. And a lot of times if it doesn't fall in line with your purpose, if you're doing this, if you're attacking the goal for other people, if you're attacking the goal as something that doesn't align with what you truly want, if you don't do introspection and what you want and why you want it and really dig down to the root of that, then it's not going to be the other things are not going to fall in line, right? These behavioral laws won't fall in line. Okay. Um, so there you go. There's the overview of the four laws. All right. And we probably already talked about a lot of this stuff. So habit stacking. Okay, let's get into that. Habit stacking, right? Pair a new habit with an existing one, right? Do 10 push-ups after you brush your teeth. Okay, so like these are chaining things, all right? Um, these are like hacks to add things in, not take things away, especially. And that's something that is really, really important because when we look at like the fitness, nutrition, like strength conditioning, like, attacking goals, that kind of thing. Um, there are a lot of people that just think I need to deny myself. I need to have less. I need to strip things down, less calories, less laziness, like, like just depriving yourself of everything is a sure way to suffer. And there's a time for it, but it's not long, right? Suffering in terms of fitness and is short, right? It's short. It should be a very, very selective part of the program. Okay. So if we get into a calorie deficit, the calorie deficit, like the pain of it should be a week, 2 weeks maybe, and then we're gone. We're out of it. Okay. So, it's the habit stacking is it's going the other way. It's adding things in rather than taking things away. Okay. And that goes into like, a personal philosophy that I have too, where it's like, listen, a lot of times we don't need to take away calories, let's say, right? Regardless of if your goal is weight loss or muscle gain, right? Those are really like kind of where we're at with like, you can go one of two ways, right? I either want to lose fat or gain muscle, gain size, like lose weight, gain weight, like kind of like that, like basics. But regardless, most times people are in a big enough deficit to lose weight. So if we actually just add protein in, like we're going to be in a much healthier spot to be able to lose weight and to be able to modify um, body composition by adding muscle rather than just focusing on shredding down and leaning out and losing. That goes back to that like deprivation. Okay. You don't need to deprive yourself, right? Let's add protein in to a meal. So a habit stack example would be I eat breakfast, I add protein to said breakfast. Habit stacked. I already have the habit of eating breakfast. Now I just layer something that I want on top of that, something that's going to get me to my goal. Okay. And if we go back to the making the unconscious conscious, right? I know that I eat breakfast, I eat meals. Now, why am I not gaining muscle? Because I'm only eating 100 grams of protein a day. Okay. Now it has been made known. Are conscious of this fact. And now we need to stack protein on top of things that we're already doing because we're already eating. So have it stacked. All right. That's one example. Okay. Environmental design. This is a big thing that we need to understand, right? Disciplined people are not superhuman. They do superhuman things seemingly, but they're not superhuman. They're just really good at setting their environment up for success. And they put themselves in places that they know they're going to be successful in. And that then stacks habits, which then accelerates results. Okay. Um, like just sheer willpower is a surefire way to lose. Okay. So if you're setting your environment up, let's say, smoking, for example, right? And you don't set the environment to be free of people smoking, there is like a 0% chance of success. Zero. Okay. So you need to set your environment up where you're not walking by cookies. Like the holidays, perfect example, another perfect example. Like I can go to the Outpost and walk by the donuts that somebody dropped off on Christmas for 2 trips. Okay. But the third trip, if the donuts are still there, I'm going to eat one. I know it. I know I'm going to do it. Environmental design. So what do I have to do? I have to set my computer up in my car or go to another place to type my reports. Otherwise, I'm going to eat the damn cookies. I'm going to eat the donuts. I'm going to do it. My willpower is only so much. Okay. It's only so much. All right. Environmental design. I need to have water with me so that I consume water, protein shakes, something other than the cookies. Okay. If I can't get away from them, I need a contingency plan. All right. My environment has to support it. All right. Um, Setting things up the night before, practical tip, right? Setting your workout clothes and gear in a visible place. All right. So like, if I want to work out and I put my workout shoes in front of the door to my bedroom, I know my ass is going to trip over them or at least step over them before I walk out the door so that I will actually do it. Okay. If you have trouble doing that. So those are just things you got to set your environment. Okay, make it attractive, right? You got to make them appealing, right? Temptation bundling. All right, so these are just things from the book. So, pair an activity with what you enjoy with a new habit. Listen to your favorite podcast while exercising. This is also dopamine stacking. Okay, so there's downsides to this too. There's downsides to everything, but Like if you pair it with things that you already like and people that you already like, then the likelihood of going through and following through with it goes up, right? Because you don't hate it. All right. This is where it's, again, what's the best workout program? Well, I can do like, based on science and leverages and your mobility and whatever, I can set up the perfect program. But if it's all based on like rowing and you hate rowing, then guess how effective it's going to be? Not effective at all. Okay. Um, Support system, work out with a buddy or join a fitness group, makes the experience more enjoyable. CrossFit, okay, CrossFit, jujitsu, like I just had elbow surgery and I can't go train jujitsu. And part of it is like I'm missing out on advancements in skills and working out and like how fun that the actual thing is. But especially something like that, where it is so based on the group dynamic, where it's like I really like these people. Like it is a good collection of people. It's a good collection of dudes, and everybody's like working for different goals under the same umbrella of like, you know what I mean? So like it's super, super cool. So it's going to augment that. It's going to make that system better and more attractive to actually follow through with. Now CrossFit, when I ran my CrossFit gym, this is where like you would have people come for the training and stay for the community. And that was a staple of every CrossFit gym that lasted more than 2 years. Like they had a strong community. And it was based as much in social events and supporting each other in life as it was in actually training. And sometimes that was really hard for me because I really like the training and I get so busy with like life and business and kids and stuff. Like I don't have time to socialize as much. So that was a downfall of my gym, was my lack of ability to just sell out entirely to the community. But because that will then cycle back up and that will support your training and people's progress, right? So yeah, and choosing a fitness activity that you generally enjoy to increase motivation, right? Um, if you got something you like to do, figure out a way to make that the primary thing inside of the fitness plan. It's totally possible. That you're always going to have to do some stuff that you don't like in terms of having well-rounded fitness, but you can do it. Okay, you can, and yeah, you just got to be creative about it sometimes. All right, making it easy, reducing friction for your desired habits. That's the big thing with it, right? Start small, begin with easy, manageable steps. Start with 5-minute workout and gradually increase the duration. Okay. You got making it easy in that context is very important. You can't just dive in head first and think that like making fitness changes in a massive way straight out of the gate, it's gonna be too hard. Okay. And it's not too hard like it's just like you're a pussy. It's too hard like you're gonna get yourself hurt and it's not sustainable. Okay. If I want to deadlift 700 pounds and I just start by just loading a 700-pound bar and just yanking it off the floor as hard as I can, it's not going to move. And the only thing that's going to move are my discs when they explode out my ass from not being safe. Okay. So like you have to make it easier. If I want to deadlift 700, I have to start with, 100 and I have to work my way up and I have to progressive overload and I have to do those steps. Like I have to go through that process of starting easy and being a beginner. Right. And Jordan Peterson talks about this. It's like, like enjoy being a beginner, enjoy being a novice with stuff, because, like you don't get that time back. And it's really fun to step back and be like, I don't know shit. Like I'm here to learn, and I'm here to start small and I'm here to grow at a good trajectory. Okay. Um, so like take that and really, really own it and own that space of like starting from the ground up. Okay. And a lot of times, like personally, for example, like I've had 2 surgeries in the last 3 months. Okay. And like that's in and now in a collection of surgeries that I've had orthopedically, like shit, probably, I don't know, 15 different orthopedic surgeries. I've had to break down, get put back together, rebuild myself physically emotionally, mentally, rework my training methodologies, my philosophies on things, how I do things, how I like to do things. I've had to do that almost 20 times. And every time you have to start small and you have to go back to the bottom, okay? And you have to build yourself back up. And most times it doesn't take as long as starting from total zero, but you have to just like accept it or it won't go well. And I've done that well, and I've done it not so well. And I can tell you that if you just release trying to be the expert and trying to be who you were and start over and start small, then that amount of humility, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. Okay. And like I said, sometimes there's a learning curve with it, especially if you had to come way back down to baseline. Like if you were way up here or whatever this is, and then all of a sudden like you had a breakdown and you got to start over, in a sense. Like it's hard, and your ego doesn't like it. Mine doesn't like it. So um, you got to sell out to starting small. Okay. All right. So moving on for a little different context here. Prepare in advance, plan, prepare meals ahead of time in order to avoid unhealthy choices. Yeah, like you're don't be there. You know what I mean? Best self-defense, don't be there. Simplify fitness routine by focusing on basic exercises, don't require much equipment. All right. So like there's no there you're reducing hurdles, you're reducing the barrier for entry. Okay. If working out is hard, if time is an issue, how can we work out at home? Okay, well, we just do body weight stuff. Like it's totally able to, we are able to do that. Especially if you are not like a fitness junkie, then like getting something done at home is like totally reasonable. We can do plenty of tension work with gymnastics movements, body weight movements, and then get our aerobic work in through walking and running and crawling around on the ground. Okay, and climbing on things. We can figure out how to do that in any environment. Um, so make it easy, reduce the variables, start small, um, prepare in advance. This is the biggest one here, I think, for a lot of people, especially law enforcement, public safety, military. Like, yeah, we prepare for so much stuff, but we just don't prepare to eat food on shift. Like we clean weapons, we do all kinds of stuff. Like living in our cars, having our paperwork ready, having our computers on, like uniforms, like all that stuff. Okay, uh, but we don't prepare eating because it's so readily available uh, for whenever we want it in poor quality. So prepare yourself for that. Know that you're going to have to eat during shift at some point, and like don't act like it's a shock. Like every day we're shocked when it's like, oh my God, I didn't bring anything for lunch today. Yeah, you didn't see that coming. It's only been happening for the last 10 years. Like, come on now. Anyway, all right. Okay, make it satisfying. All right. Ensure your habits are rewarding. Okay. Immediate reward. Give yourself small reward by completing a workout example. Enjoy a piece of dark chocolate after a hot shower. All right. So like this is in there because that is a reward. However, those can be that's a slippery slope also, right? That's how you develop like binge purge type behaviors too. So I don't know that I would necessarily say that that's a great thing to do. Is like give yourself some sort of negative reward for doing something that weight loss driven. Give yourself some shit food. Like there has to be some flex to it. I understand that. Like, but at the same time, like depending on what it is, let's put it in context of smoking. You don't go for a week with no cigarette and reward yourself with a cigarette. Like that's stupid, you know? So I know it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of the same. So choose the rewards maybe differently, right? So if we can work flexibility into your nutrition and not treat the flexibility as a reward, it's just part of the plan, right? That's what I would rather do. So like rather than this example of give yourself a reward after completing a workout with a piece of dark chocolate, like, okay, well, why don't we make it a non-food related reward? Like, I don't know, you go and do some activity with someone that you enjoy, or go and like have something else, play a video game. I don't know, right? Make it a non-food related thing. Okay. That will be a better reward system. And then the nutritional component is just built into the plan. Now, the dark chocolate can still be in the plan, right? We can still put it in there, but we're not treating it like a reward. So it's like a reward punishment system. That can be a negative feedback loop. Okay. So it can create like maladaptive behaviors. Interesting side note. I just did some studying on maladaptive behaviors and how maladaptive behaviors are not really a thing, that the behaviors themselves were adaptive at some point. Interesting concept. Anyway, sorry. Moving on. All right, track progress. Okay. So like if you don't track progress, this is where photos are really important. Okay. And nobody likes to do them. And like 80% of the people that I tell to do photos don't do it. And it's like pulling teeth to get people to take photos of themselves. And it's not like it's not like this is weird. Like we're just talking like in a well-fitting t-shirt or like spandex shorts or whatever, but you've got to have some photographic evidence of what you look like today based on the choices and activities that you've engaged in up to this point in your life, so that we can change those, make those conscious, and then change them moving forward and create evidence of change moving forward. Okay. And, photos are just one marker, right? Weight is one marker. Weight on the scale is one marker. Body fat is one marker. Photos are one marker. Like these are all markers in change. Okay. Evidence of change. But we got to have it. Like you have to figure out a way to do that. Like workouts, right? Metrics on the bar, speed of running a mile. Like those are all tracking progress. But you have to be able to do that, because if you don't, it's not like you don't hit any midterm short-term goals, and you're just kind of like bouncing around inside of this, like I think I'm headed here. And this is where you see people like the Y, right? The Y is or big box gyms. This is my like least favorite thing to see, is like how many people go in there and they're just like doing stuff just because they have to move. They have no goals. So what changes? Not much, right? Not much, because they're not tracking anything, okay, other than their doctor telling them that they keep gaining weight, right? They go to their yearly physical. Doc says you need to work out, and they're like, I am working out 3 times a week. I go in and do 20 minutes on the elliptical. Okay, well, I guess that's better than nothing, but like, damn, track some progress, right? Between now and the next year. Holy shit. Novel concept, right? All right, practical tip here. Create a visual reward system like a calendar where you mark off each day you complete a workout. Okay, that's going to show you progress. If you're in my programs, then you have an app that you can do that. You plug in the stuff and you make comments, you track it, and I can see that. And that's where coaching comes in, and that all helps too. Okay, there you go. Okay, overcoming challenges. This is the best part of any program. All right, what time is it? Okay. Um, Lack of time, motivation, and energy. Those are common obstacles. Also, money. All right. Um, Strategies here. Plan specific times for your workout. Stick to them. Right. This comes with systems. Okay. Accountability partners. Accountability partners are great, but systems are what's going to win or lose here. Okay. So this is where looking at a calendar, like, you don't have to be a psycho about it. Like I'm not a total lunatic about this, but like this is my calendar for the day. All right. And then like, here is a live that I'm blocking this out. We have football later today. Football is here in purple. Okay. Um, like these are things that happen. If I don't put them on there, they don't get done. Okay. It used to be, and I probably should go back to this now, is meals, right? You put your meals down in the times that you want to eat them. Okay. And then, really this pretty slick app that I use here is this RP Diet app. It actually does that for you, where it plugs in like what time are you going to eat these meals, and then you can set alarms for them. Okay. So like, you know that you're gonna when you're developing habits, you're going to make errors. You're going to forget. There's going to be a learning curve. You're not going to be perfect just because you decide today that I'm going to eat 3 meals with 100 grams of protein in them tomorrow. It'd be a lot of protein, but it would be it would be you'd be wrong to think that you're just going to do it. Okay. Or you're going to do it for longer than a day or two. And then you're going to have some sort of like schedule conflict where you don't get it done. Now, if you plan for it and you put it on the calendar and make it on purpose, then it removes an obstacle. Okay. And that's where we're talking about like overcoming challenges. Like, how do we do that? We future cast, we remove the obstacle prior to it, and we get it done. Okay. Um, Trying to think if there's anything else with that. All right. So last thing with this is that you are also silly if you think that you're going to get through programs without having challenges, right? And this is where it's like you start with high motivation, high drive, and you're going to go 100 miles an hour for the first week or two into any given program. Okay. And at some point, you hit an obstacle, right? You hit this thing. And I always call these, not challenges, but I call them fights, right? So you're gonna hit a fight. You're gonna get to a point where I need to fight through this obstacle, right? I have to plan for it. Okay. And like part of it is removing the obstacles. It makes the fights easier. Future casting makes the fights easier, but it's still a fight. And fights are fun, right? Conflicts are fun because they're problem solving, and that when you get through that, not if, right? When you get through those challenges, when you get through that fight, you're going to be better and stronger from it. And then boom, you do that, you clobber that thing, and it's gone. And then you climb and you go again. And then all of a sudden there's, the obstacle here, boom, boom, we get over it, we get through it, whatever. And then there's another one here. Here comes the next one. And then you go boom, and you fight that one, right? So every rung, it's like a video game. Like every boss, you have a boss, that you're fighting, and then you progress and you transition and transform into the next level, right? You level up. So many people talk about leveling up, like this video game term. So, uh, like you have to look forward to it, and you have to know, like, man, there's going to be some bumps here, and it's going to be fun. Like I know that this challenge and the higher you get, the tougher the challenges are, and the lower the payoff, right? So like if I want to lose 100 pounds, like my first 40 pounds might be like, no problem. But now we want to lose the next 40 pounds. It's like, no, there's a big sticking point there. So like the challenges get tougher the higher you go. Okay. They grow by scale. They really do. Um, so get ready for it. And then this is why we have programs and people and helpers and that kind of stuff. And then we start getting into stuff like the hero's journey. Okay. And like, who are the helpers along the path on my hero's journey? Who's my mentor? Who's, all the different people in that cycle, in that story. So look forward to those challenges, because that's where the growth occurs. Those are fun, and not maybe not in the moment, but those are the times when you look back and be like, man, I worked my ass off to get this thing that I got. All right. I think we're going to shut that down there and expand that out. Okay. All right. All right. That's where I'm going to shut it down for today. I think that's plenty. And Don, you still there? You got any questions about anything?
No, Anthony, I don't have any. But yeah, good presentation. I appreciate it.
All right. Um, Yeah, it was kind of a last minute thing I tossed together on it, but a lot of that stuff is like, just uh, stuff that I've seen people trying to make changes in the CrossFit gym, and then like pairing that with like a lot of behavioral concepts in psychology, and then really understanding like the process, this like fighting through struggles, and like another thing we should probably get into, and I think is really impactful is like just the overall concept of the hero's journey and what that means, and like the like kind of like layering that over your own life and looking at that like, oh, when I went through all these struggles in the past, I was actually going through this thing I didn't even know was happening. And then that way you can look at it now and be like, all right, where's my path now? What's my journey look like now? Where am I at in the cycle? And then that can kind of like provide clarity on a lot of things. So, all right, that's all I got. And we will see you guys on the inside of school. All right.
Great. Thanks, Anthony.
Yep. Later.